Hello and welcome to day 2 of Built to Last, our community masterclass. All right, so usually when I do my live events, I have some music going on. I wait for people to show up and we listen and kind of jam out for a little bit. And I kind of missed it yesterday, so I have some music in the background just for the beginning. And I will go through all the intros and all that, and then we'll lower it down. But we need some vibes in this. So hopefully you guys can hear it, but it's getting me in the vibes. All right, so welcome to day 2. Day 2 is how to actually get people into your group. Yesterday, we talked about the foundations, how to start building a group that really is built to last and built to succeed. Tomorrow is going to be all about how to create a really feel good community and really feel good vibe in this group that you created that sparks conversation and sales and gets people just to hype you up and staying for the long haul. If you don't watch any of these lessons, watch day 3. Day 3 is going to be the most important thing that honestly I think that I could ever teach in NFT marketing, to be honest, especially for this masterclass as well. So tomorrow, make sure stay tuned. All right, let's get into some housekeeping items before we jump in. All right, so just a reminder, you can share the image posted in this channel and tag me. You can post it in Twitter and tag me there, NFT Caitlin, and it will give you an entry to win access to launch. It is going to be my flagship masterclass, and it is all about launching. So launching is perfect after you create your community, because you can't launch if you don't have a community, or, you can, but it's not going to be, incredibly successful. So you can enter to win that way. You can leave a recommendation and just your feedback in the training feedback channel. And also I've been seeing some really genuine and really nice tweets on Twitter. If you want to give me something just really authentic and genuine too, I've been including those as well. Just because those tug at my heartstrings. And I am so thankful for anyone who has truly gone out of their way to retweet, to help get the word out, to get more people in. So, we can all really find success. I truly believe that there is no competition, and that when one person rises up, we all rise up. So that's my thoughts on that. So the drawing for who will win, there'll be one drawing and one winner, and for the launch class, and that will be 3/18. That's when I will be drawing, which I think it's like this Friday. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is Friday, 2 days from now. Okay. And then these videos will be up until March 25th. And that's when it all comes down. So if you remember, we talked about a really great promotion that if you purchase the launch by March 25th, by the time all these come down, instead of paying $250, which is what, I will be announcing after this all gets taken down and announcing it to the public and to Twitter, it will be $250. However, if you want to purchase it before $325, it will be $99 for you. This is going to be the cheapest that it will ever be. It is my first time, launching this launch class to my NFT community. So I do really, truly want to make it special. And if you left me a review on my podcast during the promo period, then you automatically are in it for free. So it's going to be so good and so exciting. And that will be in about 2 weeks from now. Okay. So now that you have the solid foundation of your community, you need to get people into your community. And if you haven't watched day 1 yet, make sure you watch this, because I am going to be going back to day 1 a lot. And a lot of these action items that I give you today are going to be based upon what your answers were from day 1, your homework was from day 1. Okay. So let's get people into your community. And you don't want to just get anybody into your community. You only want the people who wholeheartedly fit your criteria, the criteria that you laid out in day 1. It is a lot easier said than done, because today people want things done quickly and they want it done as fast as possible. Go slow and get it right. Go slow and get it right. I promise you, if you rush the foundations part of it, if you get people in here who aren't meant to be in here, it's going to take so much longer than you've ever imagined. And it's going to be a very uphill battle when it comes to building a genuine community, of launching your collection, creating a collection where the floor price consistently rises instead of drop. All right. So if you think about it, I mean, and whether you know this or not, some people don't know this, but the best restaurants, especially like in the barbecue industry or the meat industry or what else, the ramen industry, the difference is in the slow cook. It's the difference between the ribs that were just kind of like throwing on the grill versus the ribs that have been cooking and simmering for 48 hours. Or, even like the wine, it's the difference between the vintage wine that has just been bottled versus the vintage wine that has been aging for years in like these magnificent oak barrels. And I mean, just in general, like even cooking at home, really, like you have the chicken in the microwave and the chicken in the crock pot. Chicken in the microwave. I don't even know if anybody cooks chicken in the microwave, but that I'm guessing would be pretty disgusting. But even then, it's the difference between frying it in the pan and the crock pot, of just like you pulling out of the crock pot and it just melting in your mouth. So that is the difference. I want you to think of that as truly, truly go slow, simmer it, make sure that you are pulling in people who you want to pull in and who can truly get the best experience. You can get the best experience, but they can also get the best experience. So if you go fast and just try to get as many people in as possible, it will crumble. We do not want our communities crumbling in any way, shape, or form. But when you do that, if you get a lot of people in there, and I'm going to tell you how to, mitigate this throughout today. You don't want flippers in there. You don't want bots. You don't want anybody who's going to throw off the vibe. It is up to you to keep your container squeaky clean. We'll get more into that tomorrow, but that all starts with who you let in. So there are different strategies of how to get people in. And I'm going to tell you two today. And I'm going to tell you these two because it is what I've seen work the best. And really it can be applied for almost anyone in almost any collection. So this is why I'm going to give you these two. And I'm going to tell them to you, both of them, because they both work in tandem. It's not going to be an and or. I mean, I guess it can be if you're strapped on time, but using them together is really where the magic is going to happen. They each achieve different things, but it's all beautiful. So let's get into the two things. The first one is the value give. All right. So this is you creating something incredibly valuable beyond the community. I really want to state that, beyond the community. We'll talk more about the community aspect in strategy 2, and people love community, of course. That's like why we're having this masterclass. But with so many communities in Discord, with the NFT space growing rapidly, you need to go way beyond the community, way beyond. You need to give something to your ideal audience that they really, really want. Totally free, the best that they've ever seen. And that's how you're going to send traffic directly to your Discord or your community. You're not going to get anything if it's not good enough. It has to be so incredibly good. And, for me, that is these masterclasses. And it's interesting too, because I use the value give for two aspects, for growing my Twitter and for getting people over to the community. They're two different things. I'm focusing on the value give to drive people to your community. Okay. So for example, for me, my ideal audience is artists, NFT artists looking to sell out their collections. And so I'm creating masterclasses around that. And again, it's very important for me to reach out to them and talk about it in a way that it aligns with what they want. Okay. So I'm going to try to explain a difference here. We know that we need to grow community. We know it. We know we need to grow community because we know that that's how we sell out our launches. So I could go into this saying, hey, I have a masterclass on crafting the purpose for your community. Or I can say, I have a community masterclass that's going to help you sell out your launches. This masterclass, it does the same thing. People are going to come to the one that sells out their launches. That is exactly what they want. All right. So that is what I focus on with my give, how I talk about it, how I get people over. And even still, like, I have TikTok videos in my Discord. I don't talk about the TikTok advice that I give. Maybe I'll touch on it, maybe I did it once or twice when I was doing it. Or if somebody asks, I, direct them there, but I'm focused on what people want. And that is selling out their launches. That is growing their communities. That is how I drive traffic to my Discord. So what can this value add be? I mean, the possibilities are endless. We all know that the NFT world, Web3 is endless with possibilities. Same thing goes with this. So it could be a guide that you have. It could be really in depth, better than anything that anyone has ever seen. So do your research. What's out there? Maybe, a lot of people have the same questions, and there's a lot of free information out there, but nobody has really pulled it together in a really one cohesive way that makes it easy to understand. You could have a speaker series. Again, it needs to be about topics that people want right now, right away. You could have a really great group discussion. It could be about, hey, we are talking about XYZ. And of course, it's something that they really need. And maybe it's something that they're missing in Twitter spaces, or maybe it's a topic that people don't feel comfortable talking about in a Twitter space. Trying to think of anything else. I think that's it for now. And actually, don't be afraid for it to be more access to you. A lot of people come in my TikToks and are like, hey, what is, they're asking me questions, and I don't answer specific questions about their collections unless they are in my Discord. So if you're in my Discord, you can ask me questions about anything that you're going through, and I will answer it to the best of my ability. And, of course, within reason. So what is this value add, besides what it can be? Like, the content needs to align with who they are. And that's where your ideal audience comes in. After you've crafted your ideal audience in part one, you should know exactly, very specifically, what's important to them, and basically, what they need. Okay. So let me think of examples for you that are not just for me. So maybe these people want to learn how to create their own smart contracts. Your ideal audience is really new, and they have already kind of figured out the steps of creating an NFT. Maybe they want to know their own smart contracts now. Maybe you have a wine night where you get together and you all do it together. Maybe you are running a class on investing in crypto for your children. So you can see that we're getting a little bit more specific now, which aligns with what we did in day one, because we're getting specific with our ideal audience. They're going to have more specific challenges that you can really hone in on that nobody else is honing in on. So creating, generational wealth, maybe it could be geared towards moms and dads. And this is strictly focused on creating an account for them in crypto, or, how to, make it last a little bit longer, or, how to set it aside and create buckets for, maybe it's education, maybe it's for buying their first home, things like that. It could be an exercise regimen that you put together for them. Maybe you get people over into your community, and once they're in your Discord, you give them a free, maybe it's like a little mini astrological document based on their sign or their birth date, personalized to them. Obviously, you have to make sure that it is something that you can easily manage with your time, but you do want it to be really great. There are some things that you can do as well. They're a little bit broader, but I urge you to do this with caution. So things like a free NFT drop, things like a POAP, a really good giveaway, exclusive deals. Maybe they can get on your gold list, your pre-lists. What else? Maybe there's something along the lines of getting them to decide the final touches of your artwork. Maybe there's voting on your roadmap. Okay, so these things are a lot more broad. So you want to make sure that when you tell them, you are very specific about who you tell them to. Maybe somebody had an issue in a Twitter space, and you could reach out to them on the side and say, hey, I saw that you had an issue. In my Discord, I created a really great guide, or my Discord, we're having a community discussion around this. I think it would really benefit you. You want to make sure you're in the right audience. So you're not in just some random shill Twitter space. You are in a very specific Twitter space, so you can kind of get the gist of what's going on. This isn't going to be like, hey, win a free NFT and post it to, hashtag NFT community on Twitter. So again, you want to really create something that is what they need, not what you think is cool, not what you think they need, but what they want. All right. So one of my mentors, he always told me, they need the carrot, they want the carrot cake. Sell the carrot cake. And that just basically goes with what I told you with the community. Like, I'm not going to tell people to come into my Discord. So let's work on a purpose for their community. I'm going to tell them to come into my Discord so they can sell at their launches. Okay. So how do you figure out what they need, what they want more specifically? So it's a lot of asking, but also having ears on the ground, which I think is going to be the most important. And there are so many incredible resources out there, free resources in Web3. In everywhere really. So you can find them in Spaces, you can find them in Clubhouse. You can look at other people's tweets and Discords. It's crazy how much information you can obtain about your ideal client right now, and what they're needing, what maybe it's something that they're missing. So be open, be super curious, look for the opportunity, go into a Twitter space with intention of looking for opportunities, go into Discords, setting the intention for finding opportunities, and just authentically wanting to help out. And that makes sense. Use the search function. There's a search function for Twitter. There's a search function in Discords. It can be easy to find topics that you want to talk about and that you want to teach people on, and look and see what questions they're asking. Okay. So now I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but now that you have your value add, you need to shout it out every single freaking day. So people don't talk enough about the amazing stuff that they're creating or they're doing. And they're definitely not doing it every single day. I'm not talking about being weird and posting all the time, every day, single day, every single post, every single day about it. Maybe it's one post every single day, just a reminder. Maybe it's like, a post in your Discord, a post on your Twitter, a post, on your Instagram stories, wherever you are. Make sure it comes out just wherever you are. There are two types of people I see. There are the people who connect and give and give and give, and people love them. They are really good at making friends in the space, but their followers don't know their next step or their next move with them. Or it might just be that they don't know how to support them and they want to support them and buy from them. So there's those people. And then there's the people who are, the bro marketers, buy. Or maybe it's just, they're not even bro marketers. They're just like, come to my Discord. Hey, look at me, look at my Discord. And telling people to come to your Discord without a value add feels off. It feels like someone's either kind of like yelling at them, or they just completely don't even know that it exists. It goes over their head. They just scroll right past it because it's, just honestly, like, just there. Coming to my Discord is just a post that's just there. It's either the buy person, or, just come to my Discord poster. It's either going to result in unfollows or just no response. And we don't want that, especially with the Twitter algorithm. We don't want Twitter like seeing that you can get a lot of impressions, but not a lot of engagement with your posts. So, actually that's really for any platform and any algorithm. So how do we talk about this? There are different ways that you can talk about your value adder. Again, you want to do it daily, but you want to make sure that you are attaching it to something, to a pain point, to a sneak peek, to FOMO, to, just a value add. So that is the messaging that's going to get their attention. And it's very specific for this buyer's journey. What you say in your Discord to people who are, want to purchase from you is different than people who follow you on Twitter, but don't know much about you, don't know what you offer, don't even know that you have a Discord. Okay. So you really want to make sure that you are creating tweets with value adds. So it could be something like, for me, is your floor price dropping? Do you have a following on Twitter, but you can't get people over to your Discord? Sorry, something in my eye. I have a free community, like come hang out. So there's that. I'm attaching it to the pain point. Or I will pull out quotes from my recordings and I will post them in here and say, hey, like, look, creating FOMO, like, look at all this great information I'm telling you, come watch this masterclass. And then even just like adding value that aligns, it doesn't need to be specifically about the value add, but it can be just something that aligns with what you're offering. So for me, even before this masterclass, the past week and during, all this week too, I've just been creating tweets around community in general, and it's not even attached to that, attached to my value add. And then I will create more value that aligns with the offer, but not necessarily is actually in the masterclass. So an example would be, maybe you're, a psychologist, a mental health coach, but you can give them a mental health tip and then say, hey, come join our community. Today we're discussing this, or we're discussing XYZ, which is the next step of this. So if you want more, come hang out with us. I mean, you guys should all kind of get that. It's pretty standard, pretty straightforward. Okay, so where are you talking about your value add? You want to talk about it wherever you are and wherever your most ideal audience is. All right, so yes, you want to be where your ideal audience is, but you also want to be in a space that you really hate. So make sure there's just great alignment. Make sure that you're where you feel really great in, maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's not, and also where your ideal audience is. So basically, again, it can be anywhere you are. So Twitter Spaces, Twitter posts, TikToks, Discord. So I'll actually run that down. Twitter posts, we basically just talked about that, with how you really just tweet and create value and create messaging around how to get people's attentions. All right, so then Twitter Spaces. So this is where you talk about your value add, not shilling. So people aren't going to come to your Discord because you're selling an NFT and you're talking about your collection. They just aren't, especially if they don't know you. So what you want to do is you want to talk about, hey, in our community, the biggest struggle that we're going through is this. So I created this amazing guide. If you guys want to check it out, if this is you, like, this is right up your alley, make sure you go in there, check out this masterclass, check out this guide, check out, our game night next week, whatever it is. And that's the name of the game, is just giving and giving and giving in a way that feels really good to you too. Again, not going to get into the energetics of it, but just make sure it feels good to you and it aligns with what your ideal audience wants. So this is where you are going to get people over, not shilling. Okay. So, and then of course you're driving them to wherever you're cultivating this community. I feel like that is like kind of standard, like kind of something that everybody knows, but I feel like I should say that too, because sometimes I'll say them, be like, oh, like, you're right. So you're always driving people to one spot, and it is where you're cultivating community. You want to be driving your community in one spot, and that's where you're driving everything to. So this is where this value add lives, and this is where you're sending people to. It's probably Discord. All right, especially for us NFT artists. Okay, so then there's TikTok. TikTok is another great place. It's obviously more video. You're hitting NFT artists there and people coming into the space who you want to onboard. So again, if you have an ideal audience that maybe is just crypto curious, NFT curious, there's a lot of stuff that you can do in TikTok. It's not very saturated at all, and there's a lot of growth happening. Then you have Discords, other people's Discords. So keep your eyes peeled. This is one of the best ways to get people, because Discords, if they're set up properly, you can find Discords who only have audiences that perfectly align with who you're looking for, or perfectly align with their pain point. So keep your eyes peeled, use that search function, look for people in Twitter complaining about a pain point that you solve. Maybe they're in Discords asking questions. Maybe, where else would they be? I mean, yeah, Twitter and Discords, I think, are going to be the biggest things. They're going to tweet about it. They're going to be talking about it in Twitter Spaces. Take 30 minutes out of your day at the end, just while you're watching TV, and just look and pay attention. That's all you have to do. There's so much information out there. It's insane. And there's so many questions that people are asking. There's so much people are offering up in regards to what they need and what their issues are. You can also create an own Twitter of your own. You can create polls, you can create asks. I find that it's a lot more effective if you kind of go undercover, because you can kind of pick out things that they might normally wouldn't talk about, or it wouldn't come to mind, or you might not even know to ask about. Maybe you see a trend and it's people who are hosting Twitter spaces, but you see that, maybe there's something that they're doing wrong, or maybe there is an extra step that they're taking that is just causing so much more work for them. So maybe there's something that you can see that could be done in a better way. So it's really staying curious. It's really asking the questions and keeping your eyes open. And then also, if you are seeing people who are asking these questions in Discord and on Twitter, again, reach out to them. Answer with your offer. Say, hey, maybe you give them a short answer, and you can say, we go way deeper into this, into my Discord and into whatever it is that the value add is. And then people feel weird about doing that, reaching out and actually being like, hey, I talk about this in my Discord. I think with that first little step of like, hey, here's like a little mini answer, and then you can go to the bigger offer. I think it makes it feel better. But also, when you are so specific about who your ideal audience is and their pain point, and you craft something specifically for them, it becomes way less awkward. And actually it becomes like a thing where it's like, you need to answer them. If you don't answer them, you're doing them a disservice. You're not helping them. And that's what we're here in Web3 to do, is to help. It doesn't feel weird if you create something that is incredibly important and incredibly valuable and directly aligns with this person's pain point, and especially if they're asking for it. All right, so that was the value give. I'm going to kind of close out that container. So the value give, create something amazing, shout it out to the world. We talked about how to shout it out to the world, different ways that you can do that. Take the time to sit down with this, go through the points of what we talked about, creating FOMO, sneak peeks, everything I listed, and just create content, batch content, create. And then there's gonna be more with strategy 2, but strategy 2 is behind the scenes. This is building up the vision of this beautiful community that your followers can be a part of. So build it into your daily stories, into your content. Share what's going on the inside of your community. Invite people to special events that you have going on. Again, I'm going to go through this list again of the different types of content you can create, and it will overlap with the value give, but I did want to create it separate because I do want you to create content just based on the value give. And then I want you to create content just based on this big vision of this beautiful community. All right, so I'm going to go through some of this again, but a lot of it will also be different. All right, so yeah, share what's going on. Invite people to special events that you have going on. Maybe you have a women's Jeopardy, you can invite people like, hey, come play with us. We have a really, awesome women's Jeopardy. We have so-and-so giving us crypto investment training. Make sure you get in on it. Little things like that. But again, there's so many different ways to talk about it. You can show up every day and talk about this. So maybe one post a day is talking about the community. One post a day is the value give. And then the rest of the posts are just whatever you want it to be about, that obviously align with you. All right, so the different ways that you can do this and that you can talk about it. Again, take notes because there's really great content ideas. You're gonna have some really awesome posts and you're gonna get your wheels turning. So the first one is create FOMO. This is gonna come out directly from the interests. So you created 3 to 5 interest buckets in day 1. This is how you're gonna create FOMO. People who have interest in this thing wanna be a part of other people who have the same interests. All right, so this is why this is so great to align these two. And the best way to do this in a way that feels good, it's not like super weird and bro-ish, is to celebrate. Celebrate the group wins. Maybe celebrate who has joined your group. The fun stuff that's going on behind the scenes. You can say, hey, this Jeopardy game we're having on right now is hilarious. Here's one of the questions and one of the answers, come get in on this. Or maybe you tag somebody in your audience who just won, 1 ETH at your game night. You could talk about the book club that you had last night, and maybe it changed your perspective on something. Talk about that. And then, of course, invite them in. And for these things, as long as they know that it is your Discord and this is what you do all the time on a very consistent basis, Sometimes you don't always need to be like, hey, come join to actually add that. You can just let it be. You can just bask in the joy of your community and what you're doing. I think that says a lot about your community as well, and a lot about you. Like you're just giving all this insider access information, and you don't even need to, you don't need to be like, hey, come join. Obviously do it for some, don't do it. Test it out, see what works, and see what feels good for you. All right, so you have the FOMO aspect. Then you want to explain the void that it fills. And this is going to come from your ideal audience. So from day one, again, your ideal audience, you figured out basically who they are, what they're going through, what they need, and what they want. The best way to create content around filling this void is through personal storytelling. So you could talk about, as a mom, I felt completely displaced from, my other friends who weren't moms. I felt lonely, and this is why I created a group for women like me. Obviously, like, make it authentic and talk about your feelings in here. And this is going to be where you pull those energetic heartstrings and you create that energetic string, that cord, that connection that we talked about in day one. This is where you start building that. So filling the void, don't be shallow with it. Be as transparent, be as open and honest as you can be. People will feel if you're just talking about this to talk about it and to try to connect versus just telling people authentically in a way to connect, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So then there's the pain point, which is kind of the same. And again, it's going to come from knowing your ideal audience and from day one, but it's going to be talking more about what they are going through and how you understand. So it could be like, hey, I know you're struggling to grow your following. This is how I helped my client. This is maybe there is a question that somebody pull out of the audience and say, hey, somebody, or from the community, and you can put it into Twitter, say, hey, this is a huge question, a huge discussion that's going on right now. If you're having this issue too, like, come get in on this discussion. Or I could say, I see this a lot. This is what's happening right now in Twitter. I'm starting to take personal questions in my Discord. If you feel like you need extra support with this, come to my Discord, ask your question. I will help you. But you're really talking about that pain point of them. So the void that it fills and the pain point, a little bit different. Okay, then the vision. We want to talk about the vision that the community helps build. This is really getting into your purpose, and it should align with your purpose. And it's also really getting into, it's crossing the lines of attraction marketing, of you embodying what you're doing, you talking about your purpose, how it is important to you, what you're doing to fix it. So, and again, this really does need to be authentic and genuine. So maybe you're talking about, no child should ever have to miss out on a birthday party because they are going through, maybe it's cancer treatments. This group that I am so wholeheartedly supporting, make sure that this never happens. No child ever has to miss their birthdays for treatments. They get treated like a queen or a king, no matter what they're going through, no matter where they are, no matter who they are. It's the most special day ever. And you've been on one of those days and you can talk about it. So again, you're talking here about storytelling and your passion behind it, and it should align with your purpose. And that will hopefully grab the attention of the people who have the same purpose in their lives, and they see that you are taking those baby steps to get to the purpose, and they want in on that. All right, I'm going to talk about one more thing in regards to this last strategy bucket, and it has never been taught. And I think that it is so important. I just kind of stumbled upon this just from me and me looking at my analytics and seeing what works and being like, holy crap, like, people love this. And it also makes sense too, if you think about it in regards to what we are taught in regards to manifestation, quantum physics, is truly, so this is the point, and this is expressing authenticity and appreciation. This is about thanking people, about truly turning inward and feeling gratitude for community, and basically like pouring it outwards on everyone and telling everyone how grateful you feel. Again, this has to be so authentic. People energetically, whether they know it or not, can feel if this is real or not. If it's not real, there's not going to be that heart cord, that really allows for that energetic transmission, and it's not going to come across. People aren't going to feel it. people will feel it if it is true and if it means something to you. And again, shout it out from the rooftops whenever you can. It makes people feel good. It makes you feel good. It's not selling anything. It's not pushing people to buy. It's purely just embodying and celebrating in a way that attracts people. It's celebrating the people in your community. It's celebrating you. It humanizes you. And people want to be in a community with real humans, not hype people, not salespeople, not bots. And those are the people you want. Yes, sometimes Paris Hilton or Eva Longoria will come into a group and then people kind of flock there. And that's great because it explodes a community. And that can be great, but it doesn't always bring in the best people. And if that does happen to your group, that's great. You don't have to freak out about it. Like, that's a good thing. You have your foundations in place to weed people out and to make sure that people are only there who want to be there. You will always probably get some bots and followers, but this is the best way to get people into your group that truly are going to be with you for the rest of your NFT collection, for the rest of Web3, for the rest of your life, basically. And in this kind of category, tell stories of the fun as well, or even the times that your community has personally lifted you up. And again, express gratitude. All right. So what you put out is people are going to feel that, and they're going to want some of that, and they're going to want to give back to you. They're going to want to come and be a part of that community. So I hope that helped. We had the 2 buckets, the value give, and then we had more of the celebration of what the community is like, creating that bigger vision through FOMO, through celebrations, through just telling people what's going on behind the scenes. It's very scary for people to go or do anything, whether it be buy something, whether it be go to community, whether it go into a Zoom meeting. If they don't know who's going to be there or what's going on, it's a surprise. People do not like surprises, especially in regards to what we're talking about here. I'm not talking about like a birthday surprise, but I'm talking about just where their time, effort, and money is going. People want to know everything. And on top of that, they might not know this, but when they feel something about your community, that's what's going to drive them there. All right. So get them the value add, get them what they need, help them get that support, and also help them feel connected to your community and help them feel the love and the vision and the purpose that is going on in there. Right. If you have any questions about that part, let me know. Ask it in the marketing questions. So if you have questions about this, actually, you can even ask it in this channel. You can ask it in this channel. That might be easier for you. If you do have any feedback, make sure you go to the training feedback and fill it out. But let's go through the homework. So you should have done your homework for day 1. Now I want you for day 2 to figure out what your value give is. Just start with 1. A lot of us in the space, especially like creative people, have so many things that they want to do. Focus just on 1, really hone in on that. It's what the number 1 thing that your ideal friend wants, your ideal consumer community person wants help with. The number 1 thing, focus on that, make it perfect it, make it better than anything that you've ever seen. Then you're going to create that value give. So you're going to figure it out, you're going to create it, and then you're going to create content around it. All right. So create content for the value give. Okay. That's going to live in your community, and create content around the pain points that it solves, maybe testimonials, success statistics, sneak peeks, value adds that aren't necessarily a part of it, but kind of align. That's what we talked about. Again, you're probably going to want to go back and outline that. And actually, I think at some point for the paid program, I will actually go through and create workbooks, because I know that this is a lot and probably people are ferociously taking notes. So if you do want those workbooks, those will probably be in the NFT. This is going to be part after it's done on 325. I'm going to take it down and I'm going to repackage it for a value add and a utility for my NFT. All right. So again, sorry, tangent. The last thing you want to do is create content that helps create the vision of what your community is all about and how it feels to be inside the community. So figure out what the value give is, create the value give, create content for the value give, and then create content for just the beautiful community that you have, and really, really learn how to talk about it. Okay. So you could batch this, take a weekend, batch it. This is actually kind of a lot. Which is why I only wanted to give you like no more than 2 strategies, but this is going to be really good. And start talking about it every single day. You even don't even have to wait until you craft like your content. Just start talking about your community now. Start talking about what's going on, why you're having fun, and what your purpose is. I think that more than anything, just get started. Don't be perfect. You don't even have to finish this. Just start talking about what makes your community feel really good for you and why people should be in there. Okay, so tomorrow is all about cultivating a community where people want to stay and buy from you. Again, this is really getting into the crux of the vibe of the container. And this is so incredibly important. Please make it to day 3. It's going to be a game changer for your community, who stays, who goes, and the longevity of it as well. Again, if you want to purchase the launch masterclass, it's going to be, I haven't decided if it's going to be 3 or 5 days. I'm kind of working through it now, but it's going to be 3 to 5 days. And for you, if you purchase by March 25th, it'll be $99. If not, then it goes up to $250 after 325. And then after the first launch, we'll probably be going up in price as well. All right. Again, let me know if you have any questions or feedback. Thank you so much for being here. I know that there is a lot of time taken out of your day, and most of us don't have a ton of time. So I truly, truly appreciate you being here and giving me your time.